Join me for a historical fiction and mystery review. Hi, I'm Casey. Welcome back to my channel. I am going to make a vlog to kind of wrap up not everything that I've read this month, but everything that I need to smush together in one vlog to post about for October, or at least mostly everything. We'll see how far I can get with recording. So first up, we have The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. It is a historical fiction novel, a World War II historical fiction novel. I gave it 4 stars. The only reason why I didn't get a 5-star was because there was just too many inconsistencies. They did not take away from the story, but they were there. You know what I mean? They were there. Also, I really loved I loved the character growth, first of all. At the beginning of the story, I honestly didn't know if I was going to be able to stick with it because Vianne was an absolute airheaded ninny and her sister Isabel was a total moron. Like, I was astonished at the characters. I'm like, how is this novel going to work with these two types of characters? Like, they're just not getting life at all. Well, sadly, because of World War II, they got life. They both had great character growth. And sadly, this is what caused their character growth and for their personalities to come out. There were definitely interesting plots and twists and turns to the story. However, I've read several World War II novels at this point. So, of course it's horrifying. Always horrifying. But there wasn't really anything that stood out to me as, a big shocker. So, moving on, the next book that I actually finished today is The Queens of Crime by Marie Benedict. Another historical fiction novel that I gave 4 stars. It is, and I had to, again, write myself some notes because lots of characters. So, these women got together, and this is based off of true stories, true things that happened. But obviously it's historical fiction. What happened in this novel did not play out exactly this way. But a group of women who were authors, Dorothy Sayers, Agatha Christie, Baroness Emma Orsi, Marjorie Allingham, and Niall Marsh, which I love that name. That's beautiful. That's a gorgeous name. They come together to form a group to discuss their writing techniques to see if they can help each other and maybe solve a real life crime. And sure enough, there has been a murder. I don't know if I can say murder or unaliving. And they go to solve it. And my favorite part about this book is that it is women helping solve a crime against another woman who has been unalived. And they are able to do this because women understand women. The men in this book were wanting to dismiss this horrible thing. And they just wanted to blame it on a bad drug deal gone wrong because of a syringe that was found near May's body. May is the name of the victim. But the women heard about it. The queens heard about it. I love that they call themselves the queens. That's awesome. And they decide to pursue the crime. And what happens? And it's just it's amazing how they gathered forces to do that. And that they spoke to other women who knew the victim. And from there, they were able to put the puzzle pieces together to solve May's murder. I obviously can't really say too much about the book itself because spoilers. I would recommend this one actually reading it. That is if you... Okay, so with the audiobook, I personally had trouble connecting some of the pieces together. I got it in the end, but I feel like I would have been able to understand it more if I sat down and read it. So if you're a person who needs to see that visual connection between characters and plot pieces, I would recommend the Kindle version for that. So the Oh yes, also before we move on, they used their writing skills to help solve the murder, which I thought was really cool. And then my last book for this part of the vlog is The Bone Trap by Tormund Cockburn. I have other notes that I'm referencing because I have a lot to go through today. And I gave that 3.5 stars. It is a mystery novel. So think Jurassic Park, but with unicorns, okay? It's a cool idea. It's a cool concept. In the end, there was just too much going on, though. Like, last 20-ish pages, there's this whole other idea that's brought into the story, and it is the first part of a series, so I can see how that would be used to continue the series. But at the same time, the characters were so flat. Like, I didn't have any that I disliked, except for the bad guy, Russ. But I can't really say that I had a favorite character either, because there just wasn't a lot of substance to them. You would learn, like, a little piece about somebody, but then there was no expansion on that in the flow of the story at all. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. The writing was too clunky. I'm not sure if it's a difference with United Kingdom, I'm going to say, authors and American authors. But as an American reader, I'm finding a lot of commas that don't need to be used. Or sometimes there's spots where commas should be used. And that, as I'm reading it, it just really throws me off. The book that I'm currently reading also has that. So I'm not sure. I don't know. It just, there was enough in this book that it took away some of the oomph for me. Let me see, checking my notes. And yeah, some of the transitions were also kind of sloppy. We were jumping from one place to another, and it just, the story, the idea was good. The basis of the characters were good. The fact that it didn't go anywhere with the characters, it just wasn't a good fit. The Unicorn Jurassic Park was, I mean, it's a bit far-fetched, but it's still entertaining. So it was another one that was a bit of a mixed bag. I don't think I'm going to continue this series, to be honest with you. I might sometime in the future if I feel like picking it up again. It's just still too fresh with the writing and everything that I'm just not interested in doing that. Alrighty, so I'm going to leave this here for now, and I will see you later. Hey guys, so I have finished The Other Einstein by Marie Benedict, and I gave that one, like, it was an automatic 4 stars. The writing was amazing. I listened to it on audiobook, and the narration was really, really good. I should have written the narrator's name down because she did an excellent job. I felt very immersed in the story. Okay, so a couple of things. There wasn't a lot of, like, this is what actually happened and this is what didn't happen in the book. It was, or I'm sorry, in the author's note, she did share what papers she based her writing off of, which I haven't looked into at all. I'm not sure if I really will. Most of that wasn't the focus of the story for me. The focus for me was that Mileva, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, was a young, intelligent woman. She went off to, it wasn't college, I forget the word for it. I'll have to add a note somewhere on here of what the name of her school was. And she makes a pact with her friend Helena that they are going to stick to their studies and have careers and not fall in love. Well, lo and behold, you know, it happened for both of them. And the most impactful thing for me was she married Albert Einstein, obviously, because she's the other Einstein. And before they got married, he treated her with such absolute respect for her thoughts, her ideas, her opinions, her intelligence. And not only does he put off getting married, after they got married, he just treats her like a slave, basically. She's there supposed to, and is supposed to be supporting him and taking care of him and doing whatever he needs her to do. And it was really sad that this very highly intelligent woman was reduced to that. One of the stories in the book was that she was teaching other children in her grade multiplication, and that she had taught herself multiplication at the age of, I think, 4. I don't know if that story is true or not, but like, that's that is the type of like extremely high level intelligence that we're talking about here. So yes, like I said, I'm not entirely sure what is accurate and what is not. The author did give her, I don't know if it's an opinion or if it was just she needed to weave it into the rest of the story about what happened with Mileva and Albert's first child, who was a daughter. And that part also really hit me in the feels. So I got that one done in one day, listening to it on double speed. And it's one of those books that's going to be sitting with me for a while. Excuse me. So next on audio, I have started the Naturals series, and I'm really, really enjoying it so far. I think I'm only about a quarter of the way through, but like, I'm hooked. I'm really excited to read the rest of the series. I am having a hard time finding time to like sit and read right now. So a lot of things that I'm doing, or a lot of reading that I am doing, is on audio. And yes, I'm not sure if I'm going to add like which books that I've read into this vlog, or if I'm going to make a separate one just for these. I'm kind of really liking that idea, just going through and talking about the series. And then the book that I'm reading on Kindle, it's a long title. I believe I'll put it on the screen. It's Love and Lattes at Pumpkin Hollow, or in Pumpkin Hollow. I'm not sure. But I am not enjoying that. There's a very high chance that I will be DNFing it. So far, we have the main character, whose name I don't remember. What a shocker, right? And she and her dad are trying to save their farm. Her father has somebody coming in to look at the farm to see how much he would get for it if he would sell it. And the daughter is racking her brain to come up with some sort of idea to save the farm. She has said that they do well in the spring and the summer, but they don't in fall and winter. And then she's on a lunch date with her friend, and all of a sudden it just comes to her that they should have a pumpkin patch because she loves fall so much. And she's always loved fall, and they have to basically import their pumpkins from other farms or buy them at the grocery store. And I'm just thinking, if you are a farmer, or if you know any farmers, you know that they're not going to be wasting time in the fall and winter just like twiddling their thumbs and not being productive. Most of the time they're going to be, you know, making their farm profitable. So it really has me bothered that it took her this long to come to the conclusion that maybe they should make a pumpkin patch. And then her mother had passed away a good handful of years before, and she just gets the idea all of a sudden to sell her mother's jewelry because, you know, this is an emergency situation, so this would be a good time to do it. And I'm like, it's just not flowing well. The writing is not spectacular. I do not like the way that her dad talks to her. It's not in a mean way. It's just very, like, patronizing, and he comes off as a pushover. So, I'm gonna probably give it another try tonight. We'll see. Last night, I chose to finish the other Einstein before going to bed instead of moving on with my Kindle book. So that tells you kind of like, you know, I'm just not really that interested in that one. Okay, I'm going to stop jibber jabbering and try to go do some reading. And I will talk to you next time. Bye. Hey guys, so I just finished The Naturals, and to say that I was totally blown away is an understatement. I usually don't pick up young adult writing anymore because I'm not a young adult. But I kept hearing this get recommended over and over and over again. And so I'm like, yeah, I at least have to give it a good go. And wow, 5 stars, absolutely. I cannot wait to finish the rest of the series. I plan on doing that throughout November, end of October into November. So the idea behind this is that these young teenagers have a natural instinct, a natural capability, to be able to see things that other people don't. You have Dylan and Cassie, who's our main character, who are able to profile people just by looking at them, looking at where they live, looking at a crime scene. And then you have Michael, who reads emotions. Leah is, I don't know if she's a sociopathic liar, but like, yeah. And then Sloane, who likes to keep to herself, and she's really good with statistics. Okay. So they are sourced by the FBI. They live in a group home, and they are learning and training how to be investigators. Meanwhile, there are murders happening with, okay, how to put this the right way. So Cassie's mom was murdered 5 years ago. And come to find out that all these victims either look or are made to look like her mother. So, of course, Cassie feels targeted. And so then the rest of the story is her looking at clues and having experiences to get to the bottom of what's going on. I kept thinking I had it figured out as to who done it, and I was very wrong. So that totally blew me away, but everything made sense in the end. I was considering doing a vlog with the series, but since it is a series and since it's not super long, but it is, it's 4 novels with a novella at the end. So chances are as I get further into it, there's going to be more and more spoilers, which I don't want to do. So I will probably just do a quick, star rating on each of the books and put them in order of my favorite to least favorite. So that's what I have decided to do with that. I'm going to wrap up this vlog for the month. I did start reading The Picks by Tim Clarkson, and that's one of the books I have purchased for my purchased Kindle book TBR, and I was getting quite lost with it. The paragraphs are rather large, so I did some digging and I did find it on audio, so I have switched to audio for that. I did DNF Love and Lattes at Pumpkin Hollow. I have talked about this in a previous clip. It just kept getting worse, and I looked at some reviews on Goodreads, and a lot of people who were having the same reading experience as I was had shared how it continued to get worse throughout the book. So I just decided to DNF it and move on. Yes, so this is my first ever vlog. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.